Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys. Come on in,
Yes.
everybody. Come on in, come on in. We're so glad to be with you all on tonight. Come on in, everybody. It's Let's Talk Marriage
Amen.
with the Manleys. Yes, as you're coming in, let us know where you're coming in from. Come on, if this is your first time joining us on Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys, we would love to have you. I'm over here messing up my phone.
You talking about mom?
We would love to have you come on in. Let us know where you're coming
Yes.
in from. Hallelujah. We're super excited to be on with you tonight. It's Let's Talk Marriage with the Man. Hey,
Amen.
Tanisha, good to see you. Glad to
Yes.
have you on tonight. Come on in, everybody. As you're coming in, let us know where you're coming in from. We know the DC is in the house.
That's
And
right.
that's a good thing. Come on in. Come on in.
That's right.
Let us know where you're coming in from. I see you coming in. Come on in. Come on in. As you're making your way in, go ahead, like, share, and tag. Go ahead and like, share, and tag tonight.
Yes.
Let somebody know that we are on. And we would love to have you let us know where you're coming in from so we can just kind of greet you from your area.
Yes.
So we're excited. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. As you're coming in, like, share, tag. Go ahead, like, share, and tag. Like, share, and tag. Get it out. Get it on your timeline. Let everybody know that we are on. Yes, it's going to be good tonight.
Yes.
We're super excited about being on with you. So come on in tonight. Let us know where you're coming in from. We want to welcome each and every one of you as you're coming in on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know where you're coming in from. We're going to get started in just a few moments. But we would love to have you come on live on tonight. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk marriage with the Manleys.
Yes.
It's going to be good. I'm super excited about tonight. I hope you guys have had a good day. It's been a great day here. It's kind of cool here, but the sun's shining, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
glad
right.
about the sun shining. It's not raining, it's not storming. Come on, no tornadoes, no hurricanes. Come on, no volcanoes. Come
That's
on,
right.
no earthquakes. Yeah, so we've had a good day.
That's right.
And so we're glad to be on and be with you guys on tonight. So come on in, everybody, as you're coming in. Let us know where you're coming in from. Again, we're super excited. Hey, and Nikki Baker Parker, good to see you. Glad to
Yes.
have you on with us on tonight. That's right, Nikki. Good to have you. Good to have Tanisha on with
Uh-huh.
us. We got Nikki on with us. Come on in the room, everybody. Come on. We're
Yeah.
going to give
Come
you a few
on
moments
in.
to
Come
come
on in.
on in.
Yes.
We're getting excited.
All
Hey,
right,
Derek.
Derek.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, Tanya.
Yes.
Good to see you. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Lady Aunt Anderson. Good to see you. Hey, Yolanda. Good to see
Yes.
you. Glad to have you joining us on tonight. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We're excited about you guys being on with us
Yes,
on
we are.
tonight. And so we are streaming actually from our YouTube channel. And we're also streaming live from our Let's Talk Marriage with the Manly group, our
Mm-hmm.
Facebook group. And we're also streaming live from my page. So you got different ways that you can
That's
catch us
right.
on tonight. You can see us at different locations. So we're super excited that you are on and you're ready to get started. That's right. Yolanda, tag somebody
Yes,
in. Let
yes,
them know that
yes.
we're on. Hey,
Celeste,
Celeste.
wow,
That's my
yes.
cousin. Good to see you.
Uh-huh.
Glad to have you on tonight. Again, we have a great topic we're going to talk about tonight. And so we want you guys to be on so you can engage with us, so we can have a great time on tonight as we talk about all things marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys. So we're super excited to be with you guys on tonight. Just by way of an announcement, just want to let you guys know in the next couple of weeks, I will be doing a 2-day short series masterclass sort of, and it's going to be only 2 days. So you may want to, some of you have been through my master classes before. You know what types of material and things I teach. And so I want you to kind of help us get the word out and get it out to other ladies. It's going to be, again, it's going to be a 2-day little short series I'm going to do. And so I'll be putting that information out really, really soon so that you guys who want to register, who want to come, you'll be more than happy to join, more than welcome to join that. I'd love to have some of you on. But again, it's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, and so if you've been in the masterclass, you know what you get, and so it's going to be good. It's going to be super exciting, and I'm glad to be able to offer it yet another time. All right.
All
So
right.
I'm super
Yes.
excited. It's good to see everybody on tonight.
Yes.
We're going to get started. We have got we got a good audience building. We've got people in different locations, and so I think we got a good audience building on both sides. So, Pastor, you ready to get started?
I'm ready. Are you all ready?
All right, let's get to it.
Before we get started, did we? I don't know if we got a chance to thank everyone.
No.
No.
Last week.
Last week, yes.
So last week we had a 1 year Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys celebration party because we've been online for 1 year doing Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And so last week we had a great party celebration, and lots of you all came and you joined us. We had a great time. Yes. Gifts were given. I mean, we had a super time, and we laughed so we were tired and worn out at the end of the game, at the end of all the games that we played. And it was a fantastic event. I was so glad to see all of you all and those of you who jumped on with us. And I think that we both had such a great time.
Right.
We gave away ring the bell for a kiss.
Right.
And so every couple walked away with a bell that says ring the bell for a kiss. And so that's that was a great thing. And so we had a great night. It was such a great time. And so we're just glad to have all. Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Yes. Hey, Whitney, good. Hey, Laretha, good to see you all. It was just a great time. We had a good time.
And what made it so good was that we got a chance to see faces.
Yeah.
That actually, put the names with the faces and all that. So that was really good.
Absolutely.
We got to see everyone. So,
absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be doing some things like that again, having another Zoom night, Zoom party. So we want you to join us. We know that this is the way of the world now, even though there's some things opening up. There's lots of things that people are trying to get back to doing things. But I don't know, you guys, we know that it's never going to get back to normal. And so our normalcy, as the normal that we once knew, that's gone. That's never coming back. And so what we are seeing now and what we're going to be doing will be some Zoom things. And we had a great time. Yeah. I mean, we laughed so we cried. We laughed and cried at the same time. It was so much fun. And I think Nikki was on. She said it was a great night. And so we want you to join us the next time we do it. You don't want to miss it. It's a great time. We had a good time playing games. Matter of fact, we had a couple that was on with us for the first time. And they joined us. It was so great. And so we had people from everywhere. We had from Philadelphia, South Carolina, Washington, D.C., I think we had them from Greensboro. Oh, gosh, we had them from everywhere. And it was such a great night. And so we want you to join us on the next time that we do our Let's Talk Marriage with the Manley Zoom night. Next time will probably be a little bit of teaching added in it. But we're going to have some great times for you guys just to join us and just have a night of fun. Right? It's good to have fun and laugh, right?
Right. You got to do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Nikki said, I can't wait for my bell to arrive.
Yes, we shipped them out this week. So you guys should be getting those bells very, very soon. So we put those all out in the mail. So we ready to get started?
We're ready to get started.
Cool beans.
All right. Now, I kind of want to sort of do not a quick recap, but I would say probably several weeks ago, we began a series entitled 5 Small Things That Successful Couples Do Weekly. Mm-hmm. Something I came across and I felt that it was needed to share with you all. Mm-hmm. And we started by saying that they think small. Mm-hmm. For some of y'all, if you remember that, you can go back and listen to the previous recording. But they think small. It's probably about 2, maybe 2.5 weeks ago we began that. And so we want to do the same thing on tonight. Look at another quality or another thing that successful couples do, that we can put into our relationships. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Tanisha said, ring, ring. All right, y'all know you know what to do.
So when the bell rings, you have to turn to your spouse and give them a kiss. We didn't bring the bell tonight. We're gonna bring it next week.
Right.
We're gonna do that each night that we're on, so you guys can know what that ring the bell means.
That's right. And so we want to continue tonight talking about another tip or another quality that successful couples do on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. Now, what I found out, they ask questions. Yes, ask questions. So if you notice our title, it stated dare to ask.
Yes.
So good. They ask questions. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about asking questions, what are you saying? You ask questions to address a person in order to gain information. Think about that. You ask questions, or you ask a person questions in order to gain information. So, and sometimes you ask questions in two forms. One, you ask questions as more in the what, query aspect. And so what that means, you ask questions that are simple, which means you ask a simple question, which means you'll get a simple answer.
Right.
But then the next, segment of asking questions is more in depth. In other words, you will ask the question to inquire, which means it requires a little more knowledge, and involves a little more research.
Right.
As it pertains to asking questions. And the Bible says in Proverbs 4:7, in all that getting, what? Get an understanding. And so when you ask questions, think about it. It helps you to get a better understanding when you ask questions.
And when you ask questions, you have to be very specific. And before you can ask a question, you need to know what you want to know.
That's good.
Because oftentimes we have no clue what we want to know when we are asking a question. We ask the question so vaguely, it doesn't give a true answer, or the person is unable to give us a true answer because we don't know what it is we want to know.
Wow.
And I talk a lot about that in my book, Delilah's Bed, about asking the right questions. And so it's important in a marriage relationship that you talk. And when you talk, if there's something you don't understand or something you're confused about, that you open your mouth and ask questions and don't make assumptions. Because what we do oftentimes is we make assumptions rather than just asking a simple question to get the answer to what we're looking for.
Right. And so when you ask a question, in other words, it shows your level of interest. Think about it as it pertains to your spouse. It shows your level of interest when you ask questions.
Yes.
Now, let me give you some examples. I mean, there's so many examples, but I just want to share some, as far as asking questions.
Sure.
Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years or so? That's the question. In your relationship. Another question could be, where do you see us? And so as we begin to answer these questions, it allows us to get a better understanding.
And Pastor, I think it's also important, and let's say this because I know we have some newlywed couples on the line and some new couples that are coming on. When you ask those questions, like where do you see us in the next 3 years? Oftentimes, and I'm speaking for the women, oftentimes it's a loaded question because women already have an answer that we're looking for you to say. Okay, now talk to me, sis. We often have an answer we're looking for. And if that answer that we receive is not the answer we're looking for, then we will perceive that our husband is not on the same page with us or doesn't understand us. So when we ask questions, women, I'm talking to the women because I'm a woman and I did it. We got to make sure that we're not waiting on the answer we want, but we're allowing him to answer it. And then maybe if there's more questions that need to be asked, we can come back with more questions to get clarity. But I think we should never go into asking questions with already an answer we're looking for in mind. It's like we do God. We go to God in prayer with certain things, but we already got an answer of how we want him to answer it, or how we want him to do a certain thing, rather than just going in and saying, God, what is this that you want me to do, and being quiet for the answer.
Right. And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit. That's a good point. In other words, another question would be, see, what are your goals, or what are your dreams? And so as we inquire, as we're seeking information, what it helps us to better understand, helps us to better know how to relate to one another, help us to better understand where we are. Another one is, how can I support, or how can I help? you might be working on your goals, your dream, and could be at this time, how can I help support you?
Right.
And
Right.
so, in other words, it allows us to have shared value
That's good. That's good, Pastor.
in our relationship. You know, because I remember when you were working on your doctorate, and how could I help and support you? That was a goal that you had. That was a dream of yours, and it really became a shared value among us.
And that was an important question for him to ask because I needed his support. I needed him to actually, you know, to step in and do things. And sometimes as women, if the question is not asked, then we oftentimes will feel like you don't care. And so when he asked, "What can I do to support you? What can I do to help you?" It was a relief for me to be able to say, "Woo, can you help me do this? Can you help me with the boys? I need to be here studying. I need to be working on this. I need to be doing that." And for him to pick up that load. So it showed me in him asking the question that he absolutely cared and he wanted to be a part of what I was doing.
And so that goes back to, it shows your level of interest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That I have an interest in your well-being. I have an
Yes.
interest in you.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking these questions.
You know? Absolutely. Absolutely.
And another one could be, what can we do together? As it pertains to our relationship.
Oh, and what are some things you would like for us to do more together?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that is so critical because there's sometimes there are things that one is looking for that the other doesn't know that the other one wants. And so asking those questions, what are some things that we can do together?
Right.
What are some things that you're wanting from me? What are some things you are hoping, you know, you're looking for me to do? What would you like for me to do today? You know, or what do you see in our relationship that's happening now that you would like to have change? All those are kind of questions that you're digging deeper and not just staying on the surface of talking, but you're going deeper into trying to get a better understanding of where you both are in the relationship, because you got to realize we're both at different places in the relationship. We're together, but we may be in our mind in different places.
Right. You know, and another good question would be, how am I doing? Because you know, we can't assume that we are at a particular place.
Absolutely.
So it's always best to ask, how am I doing?
Oh yes, that's good.
Is everything okay? Am I doing okay?
Yeah, that's a very important question.
Yeah.
For men and for women.
Right.
Right? As women, we always want the man to ask those questions or answer those questions or whatever, but we got to ask those same questions. So how am I doing? Just because you cook, come on, and clean, huh? Come on, and you get in the bed, don't mean you're doing the things he really wants, right? It could be some other things that he's looking for. And so asking, you're right, Laretha, too many times we don't ask questions and then we get mad, right? When the individual doesn't volunteer their information. So, hey, Lord, there's Pastor E. Good to see you, Pastor E. Love you. Glad to have you. And so asking those right questions are absolutely important.
Right. And so now what we want to do, you know, as you're all coming in, we're talking about dare to ask and how successful couples, what they do, what we find out, what they do on a weekly basis, they ask questions. And so we want to talk about the importance of asking questions. So now we want to go a little step further, and you mentioned it in your book. And so now Proverbs 18 and 17, listen to what it says here. And I'm going to read it out of the easy read version. It says, the first person to speak always seems right until someone comes and asks the right questions. And so you mentioned that. It's the right questions.
Right. And you know, when I wrote my book and I talked about Delilah, one of the things that Delilah was good at, and if you read through the story with her and Samson, is she asked questions. I mean, she asked him lots of questions. When he would not answer a question, she would continue to ask another question. And see, what we have to understand is sometimes the person that we're talking to, a male, let me talk to my sisters for a minute. Listen to me, sisters. When you're talking to a man, you may ask a question and he'll give you an answer. But if that's not the answer that you know he can give you, then you have to reframe the question and say it again. Oftentimes, what men do is men will hear the question being asked, but they don't understand in the way in which the question is being asked. All right, that's not a derogatory taken away from a man. It just means that the way they understand it and the way they process it may be different. So you got to go back and ask that question a different way. So if he didn't answer it the first time, then let me ask it a different way, because obviously that wasn't the way to ask it. And as I always say to my sisters, you can't talk to his head, you got to talk to his heart. Okay, and so when I'm asking a question, I'm not asking the question from his head perspective. I'm asking a question so I can get to the heart of who he is. So I may ask the question, so honey, what is your fantasy? He may look at me with a smile on his face, like, okay, what you want me to say? And then I may come back and say, all right, let me put it like this. So what is the one thing that you dreamt about doing with me that you would like to do today? Okay, that's more specific.
Oh yeah.
You getting ready to give me an answer.
That's right.
Right? Because if the question is too broad, then the answer is going to be jumbled up. He can't. It may not be in the way in which he can give it back to you. So you got to be careful how you ask your question.
So in other words, you have to know where the person is coming from.
Absolutely.
So you know how to meet them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's like, if you can tell me where you're coming from, then I can tell you where we need to meet.
Absolutely. 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 You got to give clear questions to get to the base of what you want to know. And again, sister, can I talk to you, sis? My girl, come on, my friend. You can't ask a question if you really don't know what it is you want to know. You got to be clear before you ask what it is you're wanting to know from him, because he can't answer a statement. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do oftentimes. We make statements and we don't ask questions.
So you got to ask the right question in order to get the right answer.
That's right. That's exactly right. Come on.
So now, with that being said, I want to give you some quotes to think about as it pertains to questions. Mm-hmm. And let me know what you think of these quotes. Number one, to ask the right question is half of the solution of a problem.
Wow.
Think about that. To ask the right question is half the solution of a problem.
Come on.
In other words, you would really discover the answer based on the question that has been asked.
Right. That's right.
Because a lot of times when we ask questions, it's locked into the answer.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And so you discover the answer or the solution as you begin to ask the question.
Yeah. Which is why you have to be absolutely clear.
Right.
See, you can't be unclear. You know, one of the things I saw in Delilah's story is that she was never unclear of the goal. Right? Her motive was wrong. Absolutely wrong. But she was never unclear of that goal. Right? If the goal of our learning to communicate is that I need to understand you better, then I have to be clear on what I want to ask you, so I can understand maybe why you behave that way, maybe why you said it that way, maybe what made you say it that way, what brought out what caused the breakdown that we experienced. I have to be sure and clear on what I want to know in order for me to ask the question the right way. Right? And so right questions always get you to a solution. It's like in school, our school teachers, what do we say? Ask questions. Children will raise their hand and they'll ask something, and it's not quite a question, it's really a statement. The teacher will say, what are you asking me? What is the teacher doing? Asking the student to repeat it to make sure they know this is what I really want to know.
Right.
Because what do we do oftentimes? We don't ask what we want to know. We beat around the bush, hoping that they're going to just get it and come and answer the question just by osmosis. They're not going to do that.
Because, you know, what I think, sometimes you said something key, that we don't ask what we want to know because we are afraid
of what we might hear. That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's one of the things that we have to learn to do as women. And sometimes we can see a problem or see something breaking down. If you don't ask those questions because you're afraid, at the end of the day, you are doing an injustice to the relationship, because you're not saying, what you're saying is, I'm not woman enough or big enough, come on, to ask this question and then receive the answer that I may get, because it might not be the answer that I want. I remember when we went through some things that we went through in our relationship, and I asked him some very specific questions. Some of the answers that I got was not what I wanted to hear.
You know how we are. You want the truth, you can't handle the truth.
Right. And so what we have to be concerned, what we have to know is, am I ready to receive the answer to this question? That's why if you have a marital breakdown, come on, if you've had some infidelity, you've had some things happening in your relationship, and you go into, well, what was that? And what did you do? And when did you do it? You really don't want to know those answers. It just satisfies your mind that you're thinking about it. And so if you can get it out your mouth, it makes you feel like you're going to be okay because they answer it. But literally what it does is it disrupts your peace even more. So you got to be careful not to ask things that you really don't want to know, because you can't handle the truth. It's a real big pill. The truth is, a lot of times, to swallow it unless you're ready to handle it.
That's right. That's good. And so, and with that being said, another quote is, never assume you understand. Ask the question.
That's right. That's right. That's good.
Never assume you understand. Ask the question.
Yes, that's good.
To make sure you understand.
That's good.
Now, I heard you say this. Let me make sure I understand. Is this what you're trying to say?
Right. Right.
This is what I'm hearing.
Right.
You know, and when we do that, guess what? We can save ourselves a lot of headaches.
Absolutely. A lot of arguments.
Yes.
A lot of misunderstandings. A lot of quiet days, walking around each other quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, when we've had, I know there's been a couple times when some things have happened, and I've said to him, this is what I heard you say, and this is how I perceived it. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but that's what I received, and that's what I perceived. Is that right? I still put a question on there. Because what I'm giving him is the opportunity to answer for himself, not me making an assumption for him that what he meant by it. Because I hear a lot of wives saying that, well, he said this, and what he means by, no, you don't know what he means.
So in other words, don't put words in his mouth.
Don't put words in your spouse's mouth.
Right.
Come on now. Come on. So you got to make sure that you never assume you understand. My newlywed couples, you don't know everything about your spouse yet. Guess what? And you still won't know everything about your spouse, even when you've been married for 10, 15, 20, 28 years,
That's
going
right.
on 29. You still will not know everything about your spouse. So you cannot assume that you understand what they're saying. That's why you have to ask, so you can make sure you're coming into an understanding.
Listen to this one. The wise man doesn't give the right answer. He poses the right question.
That's good.
Let me say that again. The wise man doesn't give the right answer. He poses the right question. So in other words, you cannot become wise if you don't ask the right questions.
That's right. That's right.
So if you want to know something, you have to ask.
That's good. So the wise man doesn't give the right answers. He just asks the right questions. And when you ask the right questions, you always get the information you need.
Yes.
Huh? If I ask my husband, honey, are we going to the mall today? Then he can answer the question, yes, we're going to the mall, or no, we're not going to the mall. Now I know that's a really strange question. I'm just putting out a question there. But to ask the right questions always get you the right information. One of the things that Delilah did, she asked the right question. When she asked him, tell me, Samson, where is your strength? Huh? Now, she had asked him lots of questions before. But when she got to that question, that's when Samson had to decide whether or not he was going to give her the truth or he was going to keep giving her the runaround. And if you notice in the story, he kept giving her the runaround until she said, if you love me, Samson, you'll tell me where your strength lies. Come on, y'all. She kept asking the question. She knew that was the question because of the way he was responding. See, there's a response that kicks off when you ask the right question. Mm-hmm. You're gonna either get a response that they're uncomfortable, and which says, "Oh, I'm on to something now." Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You're gonna get a response one way or the other if you ask the right question.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Listen, here's another one. Part of being successful is about asking questions and listening to the answer. Mm-hmm.
That's the key part right there.
That's the key. Asking questions and then listening to the answer. Not interpreting the answer.
Ooh, that's good.
Listening to the answer. You know, sometimes we want to try to, I know what you're going to say before you get it out.
Putting words in your mouth.
You're right.
Don't do that, ladies. Don't put words in your husband's mouth.
Don't do that, men. Don't put words in your wife's mouth.
Because when we do that and start putting words in their mouth, that makes a person angry. I had a person that should always tell me, I already know what you're going to say. I already know what you're thinking. I'm like, no, you don't. What you think I'm thinking, I am farthest away from that. And it would make me upset, so much so I never wanted to get in any kind of conflict or confrontation with the individual because they were always trying to tell me what I was thinking. You're not in my mind. You're not in my head. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. I can communicate. And so when you start putting words in your spouse's mouth, really what you're saying to them is you're incapable of speaking for yourself, so let me do it for you.
Right.
And that's an insult.
That's right.
That is an insult, and it is disrespectful.
And what happens is, you know, when we do that, what we're saying, I heard this before. So this sounds familiar, and so I'm going to jump the gun. I'm going to jump to conclusions.
That's right.
Jump to make an assumption.
That's right.
Because this sounds like what I've heard before. Instead of hearing your spouse out, instead of listening all the way through.
That's right.
And then when you listen all the way through, you discover, hey,
that's right.
It's not what I thought.
That's right. And most of the time, what we're doing when you say that is we're only listening for the few words that trigger us, right? We're listening for those few words that send off a trigger that now I need to defend myself or now I need to fight. We don't listen to hear them all the way out to understand what they're saying. We're only listening for those few moments. And once we hear something that triggers us in an emotion, we want to come back with our rebuttal. We want to come back with our fight. We want to come back hitting you strong. Why? Because we are listening only for a response. We're listening to retaliate is really what we do. We want to retaliate on you because you just said something that hurt my feelings. And so now because I'm hurt and I'm wounded, I'm coming for you. But that's not communication. And that's not creating a healthy marriage.
Right. And so let me say this, as you say this, come on mind, even though the question might be forceful, that don't mean it requires a forceful answer.
That's right.
Because the Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath.
That's right. That's right.
Well, what happens a lot of times, a question is coming in a forceful manner. And so when it comes in a forceful manner, we think I need to, answer in a forceful way.
As if the person is trying to fight you. And sometimes you got to know, this is what you got to know. You got to know your spouse's personality. You got to know your spouse's demeanor. You got to know the way your spouse moves in and out of things. If they're normally the kind of person that is not loud and boisterous, but they're normally calm and they're coming a little agitated, you got to be able to know that something's not right.
That's right.
And so you can't just allow that to fuel you. You got to be the person that says, well, honey, let's sit down for a minute. I can see this is agitating. This has kind of got you turned up a little bit or whatever. I want to make sure that I'm not saying anything that's causing you to be this way. So what's happening? What's going on that I can help and assist in and answer this question for you and bring some peace to the situation. Don't just jump in and let that fuel your response.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Because what we do, we let the fire jump all over the house. You light the flame, and what does he do? Stick a match out there for his match to get ignited. And before you know, you got a fire through the whole entire house, and nobody has heard anything.
Right. And then after, whenever it cools down, then you're like, is that what we were arguing about?
Right. Right.
Because nobody heard anybody.
Absolutely.
Nobody was listening.
Come on, that's good. Laretha that said that too many people listen to answer instead of listening to hear.
Yes.
Right. And hearing what's being said. Taking in, what am I supposed to get out of this conversation? What am I to learn from what we're talking about? What am I to change? Right? And even in the asking question situation, it ought to be, I'm asking for learning.
Yes. To get a better understanding.
Right? Why do teachers encourage students to ask questions? So they can learn.
Yes.
So you can learn the material. So you can learn to do better. So when you ask questions, you're asking with the mindset or the goal that I want to learn so I can become better in this relationship.
Yes,
and
yes.
I can be a better for you and for us.
Right.
Right? So asking a question is not a bad thing. It's how you ask it.
That's it.
How you ask it and the tone in which you ask it. But then again, you got to know your spouse.
Yes. And so now let me give you another quote. If you don't know how to ask the right questions, you discover nothing.
Now that's good, Pastor. That's good.
Think about it. If you don't know how to ask the right questions, you will discover nothing. So that's why the Bible tells us, men, dwell with your wives according to knowledge.
Yes.
And you won't gain knowledge if you don't ask questions.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And that's so good, Pastor. When you don't ask the right questions, you get nothing. So you leave empty.
Yes.
Right? Have you ever had a situation where it started off as a calm conversation, it escalated into more than what it was supposed to be, and you still left with no resolve? That's because the conversation, the questions, the delivery, the process was out of order, out of whack, had motives set behind it. Come on, motives to get what I got to get out, and I really set you down because I want to get you told, right? Because that's what we really do, women. We want to sit them down and get them told, but we want to do it in a slide way by starting out asking a question that we already know the answer to.
So in other words, you got a hidden agenda.
Yes.
Or ulterior motive.
Right.
Wow.
And this is what was going on with Delilah. But Delilah's method to get to his heart was what I took away as the principal thing of this whole story, was that she asked questions. Her motive was wrong, absolutely, but her method to get there was right. She asked questions on a weekly, daily. She would ask him over and over and over. Why? Because she wanted to get that answer.
Right. And you know what? Because a lot of times we say, well, I didn't know. And
you didn't ask either.
That's it. And that's why you didn't know. I had no idea.
Yes.
And the reason you didn't have any idea because you failed to ask.
So that's not that's not an excuse in a marriage relationship to say I didn't know. Right? We tell the kids all the time, you can't tell me you didn't know. You didn't ask. You didn't ask me when the assignment was due. You didn't raise your hand and ask no questions. When I went through it, I went over the assignment, went over the questions, we went over homework. You didn't ask no questions. So that's not an excuse that you didn't know. So we can't use that excuse no more in marriage. You gotta be honest with yourself and say, you know what? I didn't ask you proper questions. So I'm in the dark on this. I need to come to some better understanding. So let me ask some questions so I can get clear, so I'll know what I need to be doing moving forward.
So because if you don't ask certain questions, you cannot expect certain results.
That's right. That's right. Results are always connected to questions. Think about it. Even in math problems, I got my friend Andrea Henderson on the line, and she'll tell you she's a math teacher. She's a math teacher. And when you have a math problem, it's in the form of a question.
Yes.
Because you have to solve it. But if you don't know the formula to solve it, then it'll go unsolved or be solved incorrectly because you didn't go through the proper formula to get there.
Yes.
And so it's the same thing in communication. You got to ask the right question. In order to ask the right question, you got to make sure the question is delivered in the right way so you can get the answer that brings the relationship into a better place.
Yes. And listen to this here. This quote here.
Glory to God.
Knowledge is having the right answer, right? But intelligence is the right question.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Say that again.
Knowledge is having the right answer, but intelligence is asking the right question, which shows you were thinking.
That's good. Come on. Thinking. What do we tell our kids in school? Put your thinking cap on.
Yes.
Right? If you're thinking about your spouse, you're thinking about your relationship.
Yes.
If you're thinking about the two of you, you're thinking about where you all are in your relationship, then questions will begin to formulate that are designed to bring the relationship to another level.
Yes.
To take it to another dimension, to take it to another place. That's what questions are about. How do we get from where we are to a different place, a different dimension? How do we get to a place of understanding better? So that's why questions have to be a part of your marriage, a part of your communication process, right? If you're not asking questions, you're not gonna get no answers. Come on, you're not getting nothing if you ain't asking questions. What did Delilah do? She asked the right questions. She asked the right questions. Here it is, it's in the book. Delilah's bed, 6 secrets to a man's heart. I talk about asking the right questions. The very first thing she did, motives were wrong, method was right. And she got to the power. She got to the heart of Samson. And that's the reason why he gave it up. So let me say this to my ladies. You got to ask the questions that touch his heart and not his head. Because you're not going to get the answers that you really want from him. I hope my young babies are on here listening. I hope my young couples that are on here listening. You're not going to get the answers that you want as long as you try to talk to his head. You're trying to talk to his intellect. You're trying to talk to what you think he's thinking. Talk to his heart. Get to the place of where he really is. So, honey, I know you enjoy doing these things. How can I do things better in this area that continues you enjoying that?
And so what you have done, because the scripture says we have not, why? Because we ask not. And so some of us wonder, why I don't have this, why this, and why that? Well, have you tried to ask?
Come on.
To find out or to try to discover.
Yes.
How you can get it.
Absolutely. And let me add this for my sisters, because let's talk about a little bit what questions not to ask or how to approach men, how to approach a situation. Number one, let me say this: you never ask a why question. Now I'm talking from my clinical background. Now I'm talking about from a counseling profession. You never ask a why question, because why questions never get the answer you're looking for. Because if a person knew why they did what they did, they wouldn't have never done it. Okay? So you never ask why. But what you want to know is, what are some things, or what could I do differently, or how can I handle this differently? When I did this, is this something that you would desire? What would make you feel better if I did this? When I'm wondering if this is a better way to go about doing this. Why never gets you to anywhere, any place. That's why we ask our kids, why you do that? I don't know. I don't know. No, they don't know. If they knew, they would have never done it. So don't ask why. Go to a more appropriate question that gets you an answer. You want to keep the question so that it gives your spouse the ability to respond to you, and not just with a yes or no.
So in other words, I put this down here. I want to share this as you say that. In other words, we should ask questions. When we ask questions, be honest in your asking.
Yes, that's good, Pastor. That's right.
Be honest in your asking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be selfish.
That's right. That's good.
When
that
you ask
so
a question,
mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
not selfish.
That's right.
Because the Bible said again, we have not because we ask not, because he said you ask amiss.
Yeah.
You ask for your selfish, gain, for your selfish gratification. And your spouse will know if you're coming from a selfish standpoint.
That's right.
From a selfish viewpoint, based on how you're asking the question.
That's right. That's right. And women, men know if you got something up your sleeve that you trying to get to by asking the question. Come on, we act like the brothers don't know nothing. They know. Come on. You wrap that question up in a whole nother little wrapping. And you done said it in a whole nother way, hoping that he don't know where you trying to come from because you trying to slyly get in. Just go ahead and ask it. Don't do all that behind the scene and camouflaging. Just go ahead and ask the question.
Because see, I know something up when you ain't touch me all day, and all of a sudden you rubbing my head. And, no, you don't do that. But I'm just giving you, an example. Rubbing my head and sweet talking.
That's right. Laretha said you can't slick the slick. But that's the truth. At the end of the day, you got to ask those questions and not have an ulterior motive behind it. Yes. Come on now. Because sometimes, wise, we ask with ulterior motives. I'm trying to get him to do this for me, and so he might not do it the way I want him to. So let me just ask, let me throw it out there a little bit and just see what my bait gonna look like. Just ask him. Yeah. And if he says no, honey, not right now, then be okay with the no, honey, not right now. Let me tell y'all something. And I think we've told this before. There was a situation years ago that my husband and I ventured into. We did something, and we ventured into doing something. Against his better judgment, he went along with it because he loved me, right? And he wanted me to have this thing, right? However, if I had just stopped to ask him a question. Now, let me tell you, when I asked the question, I didn't ask the question throughout the whole entire process. It was at the end that I said to him, honey, you sure we should do this? Well, at that point, it's too late. Because we are already in the process, right? We hours from the process. I'm asking, honey, and it's not even a direct question. It's just, honey, are you sure we should be doing this? My real question I should have asked is, honey, do you want to do this? That would have given him an opportunity to say, honey, we should not do this. But because I gave it to him in a way, I didn't want him to answer it another way. I filled the question up, come on, with what I wanted him to say to keep going with me, right?
So really, it was no way out.
Right, because I had loaded the question statement, because it was a question statement. It wasn't fully a question. It was a question statement. Come on, y'all. And I gave it to him and not allowed him the ability to say, honey, this is not a good decision. Later on down the road, while we maintained and we did what we needed to do with that, it ended up not being in our favor later on down the road for my husband to then say, I didn't want to do it in the first place. Now I'm mad because he didn't tell me that, but I'm even madder at myself that I put him in a situation that he didn't feel safe enough to tell me that. Okay. Y'all don't leave now. Stay on the line.
So
women,
now,
sisters.
With that being said, listen to this. It takes more courage to ask than it does to answer.
Wow.
Think about it. Why? Because when you ask, it's a matter of will. When you answer, it's a matter of choice.
Come on. So what was going on with me? I didn't have the courage to ask him because I didn't want the answer that I was going to get. Because I knew it. I could see it on his face. I could tell by his body language. I could tell by how he was moving. I could tell by what he wasn't saying. Come on, y'all. I'm talking to my sisters. You can tell how your husband's moving, how he's not talking, how he's kind of he's moving slow. He's kind of he's kind of quiet. He's not. He's reserved, more reserved than normal. Come on, the behavior that you normally know of him has kind of changed a little bit. And you ask a question statement because you really don't want to know the answer. Mm-hmm. And guess what? When you don't ask the question, you don't get you will not get an answer. You get nothing. And so I got nothing. Later on, I got the real answer because then he told me. I didn't want to do it because it wasn't a good decision at that time. Mm-hmm.
So what we had didn't last as long as it could have lasted.
Yep. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Had certain questions been answered.
And so, wives, what am I saying to you? Don't be afraid to ask your question. That's right, close to manipulation. Yes. Why? Because I didn't want him to answer the way I didn't want it to turn out. I wanted that, and I wanted them to say, yeah, we can have it. Right? Manipulation. We have to be honest with ourselves that we are not walking in that. Mm-hmm. And doing that with the questions and how we formulate our words and how we saying stuff. And can I say to my married women, you don't ask your husband for nothing. This is another form. Don't ask your husband for nothing while y'all in the midst of making love.
Oh, wow.
I know y'all like, what she say? What did she say that? Yeah. Because you know what? When you ask him in the midst of that act, most of the time, and not most of the time, in the midst of that act, his mind is far from you asking or answering anything in his normal capacity to hear you.
So he cannot think clearly.
Because for number one, he just said it. He can't think clearly. His ears are not on high alert. His whole body is responding to the moment. And you ask him, honey, will you buy me a new car? What he gonna say? Yeah, girl. And when the moment is over, he gonna be like, I didn't say that. Oh, yes, you did.
And you misinterpret it because he's saying yeah to something else. And you think he's saying yeah to your question.
I'm trying to teach my young babies. Don't do that. That's not the time to ask questions. Well, do you love me? Yeah, I love you, girl. I love you. Don't do that. Don't do that in the bedtime. Don't be asking deep questions in the bedtime. He can't answer that. He's not going to be able to fulfill that with the answer that needs to be honest and trustworthy and truthful because he can't. Not in those moments. That's manipulation.
That's right.
That's taking advantage. Come on. That's witchcraft. Don't do it. Because now what you're trying to do is you're trying to get him in a vulnerable state to answer you. What was Delilah trying to do? Get him in a vulnerable state to answer her?
And so really when a person does that, you're more at fault. So because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
So if he says, yeah, girl, honey, he in the moment. Let him come back to himself. Let him get back to his full senses. Let him retreat back. I'm telling you.
And so if that happens, the question I have, why are you asking that question at that moment? Where are you? Where are you?
You should be in the moment with him.
Where are you?
Y'all, something else tonight. See? I'm just saying. I'm trying to put it out there because I want you to have a healthy relationship.
Yes.
I'm giving you the bad stuff I did. I'm giving you the dumb stuff I did. And I never asked any questions during those times. I don't think I did. No, okay. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. But I did ask questions at other times that were manipulated intensive.
Yeah, I'd have been like, what you talking about, Willis?
But we're just trying to help you so you understand asking questions are so important. It brings about a level of that's right. Nigga said witchcraft. It's a level of understanding and communication. It brings you guys to an intimacy that you have never embraced before when you ask right questions and you get the answers to those questions. and everybody is clean and clear.
Yeah.
You want your marriage to be clean and clear.
That's right.
Not full of messy mess. Why? Because you asking questions without any, but they're full of statements or loaded questions, and you just ready for him to answer the wrong way so you can go off. I'm just waiting on. He better not answer it that way. You come on now, y'all know. We done asked stuff and said, "Oh, he better not answer that way, because if he do, I'm going off." We don't. So your question was wrong, and it came out your mouth. Your question is wrong if you thinking like that.
And so you have to be aware of how you need to ask the question, because even the Bible says, "Season our words with salt."
Absolutely, absolutely. Y'all cutting up tonight. Huh? Come on. So those are the things we're talking about. Asking the right questions. I want you ladies that are on the line, if you haven't got my book, and for some of you that are on the line, you've read my book. If you get the book, Delilah's Bed, The 6 Secrets to a Man's Heart, I talk about asking questions. And I talk about not making statements. I talk about assumptions. So you can get this book. It'll answer some questions for you about how to ask the right questions, how to do that. It's important.
It is.
You'll never get to the bottom of an issue or a bottom of a situation until you learn how to talk and ask questions appropriately.
And you won't grow
in your marriage.
In your marriage without asking the right question.
You have to. You have to. So don't get yourself be found manipulating and using your words in a way to persuade your husband, because
or your wife,
right? Because you don't want them to answer questions certain ways. So I'll ask it a way to kind of push him away from giving me the answer I know I'm supposed to get, but because I don't want that, I'll just get it. I'll ask you this way.
It'll come back and get you.
It will bite you back.
Yes.
Ask me how I know. Okay. Y'all good out there? Y'all still alive?
So start asking questions.
I know. Dare to ask.
Yes, dare to ask.
Dare to ask. Dare to be bold enough to ask those questions so you get the answers for a good marriage, for a successful marriage, for an honest marriage.
Yes.
Come on. You want honesty and purity in your relationship. You don't want hidden secrets, hiding stuff, folks slipping stuff in. You know, if I can't ask you where you get that from and he can't answer me, something's wrong with it.
Or do you like how I look? Or do you like this? Or do you like that?
Come on. And so,
what do you think of this?
So women, when you ask those questions, you got to ask them right. Because a man is he's gonna answer questions on the basis of profit loss. Is this gonna profit me to answer this, or is this gonna put me in the loss category? All right. If it's gonna profit me if I answer this question, I'm good to go. If I'm gonna be found in the doghouse, it's gonna be a negative for me. I'm not giving an answer. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I'm gonna look at you like a deer in headlights. So what you want me to say?
Right, because I ain't gonna let you crucify me.
Come on now.
If I'm not gonna give you the answer that you're looking for. And so if that's the case, then it's best that you don't answer the question.
Right. Because some things we really don't want to know the answers to. And then here's where I had to do. I had to ask myself, do I really want to know that? Is that really important enough for me to ask that? Is that going to do something to me if I get an answer that I'm not looking for? Is that going to mess me up? Where's that going to take me?
That's good.
How far out am I going to go if I get the answer to that question?
Or what it caused me to look at my spouse differently.
Yeah. What's the purpose of this question that I got coming up? Is this question something that's worth us getting into a conversation about? And what am I going to do with the answer when I get it? Yes. Oh, there it is, the real deal. What am I going to do with the answer when I get it? Because some of us, we get answers that we don't know what to do with them when we get it. And
you got to make sure you don't use the answer against your spouse.
Right. That's not to throw back in their face. That's not to retaliate. That's not to cause them, to use it as a weapon later. So we have to go back, women. I'm talking to the sisters. I can't talk to the brother. I'm talking to the sisters. That's what we have to do, because we talk a lot. We think a lot. We're constantly asking questions and talking. So if it's a question that I don't really know what I want to do with the answer that I'm going to get, then I might not need to answer that.
And what I do as a man, if my wife is asking me questions and I'm not sure, why she's asked this question, I ask her, what makes you ask me this question.
Right.
So I can get a better understanding how I need to answer this question.
Mm-hmm. And then what that does to me is it puts me in a situation of going back to what I said first. So what did I ask the question for? And what am I trying to get out of it with him answering it?
And sometimes you'll discover that you already know the answer, so you don't need to answer the question.
You don't even need to ask it.
Ask a question, should I say? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you already know the answer.
Absolutely. 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 And so that's why it's important, guys, that we ask the right questions. We make sure that we're asking the right kinds of questions and knowing if I get the answer to this question, what is it going to do for me? Mm-hmm. When I get if I get this answer to this question, is this going to do something better for me? Is it going to be a hindrance to me? I stopped asking questions about certain things that we had experienced, things that we had gone through. I stopped asking certain questions because it was not helping me. It was hindering me. I didn't need to know the details. I didn't need to know all of that. While I thought I needed to know or I wanted to know, come on, there's a difference from needing and wanting. Mm-hmm. Come on. Some things you need to know and some things you just want to know. You got to know the difference. Do I just want to know? What is the just want to know going to do for me? Because if you just want to know, it's going to take me out spiraling worse, and I'm going to be worse off in this relationship that I need to leave the want to know out.
And then, when you say that, it comes to my mind is that when you don't put your spouse in a situation that makes them uncomfortable.
Right.
So what I mean, when they give an answer, it's making them uncomfortable to give that answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you are right, Pastor Henderson. He said, as men, they put up walls.
Yes.
That's right. Men have put up a wall in a quick and in a hurry. Let me give you one good way to get them to put up a wall with you. Is when you say, I need to talk to you.
That doesn't sound when inviting to me.
We need to talk. Or I need to talk to you. Guess what a man gonna do? Uh-oh, what did I do wrong?
That's
What's
right.
wrong? What I didn't hear, what I said. Did I say something? Did I not do something? What you want me? What's going on? What's happening? And then they start texting you and asking you, what did I do? What's wrong? What's going on? Because you done put that out there. I need to talk to you. Ain't nothing wrong. He know you. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Don't do that anymore.
And then you did it with an attitude,
right?
Too, right?
Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I need to talk to you. It's not. Don't say that no more. Right. All you need to do is say, honey, when you get a few moments, I want to share something with you that's been on my mind. Oh, I just gave you
totally
easy
different.
way.
Totally
Guess
different.
what he gonna do? Oh, okay, cool. What's up?
But see, when you say I need to talk to you, it's like, why can't you talk to me? See, you're telling me you can't talk to me.
Come on.
I need to talk to you, which means I'm having trouble trying to get to you.
Wow. That's
and you're
good.
saying I need to talk to you as if it's a sense of emergency.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Pastor, talk about it.
Which means I'm looking like, why can't you talk to me?
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
So again, we have to be mindful of how we, our approach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So we got to be careful of that. Right? You don't want him to put a wall up. And so again, honey, I've been thinking about some things I would like to share with you. That takes all attack out of it. That puts him at a better response, right? Than him saying, well, what in the world? Mm-hmm. Because again, it's some things you have been thinking about that you want to share with him, right? Because when you say, I need to talk to you, what you're telling him is, I want to come for you. Mm-hmm. That's why he starts to put his wall up. He get ready to go into his man cave, and he going to come out fighting. Mm-hmm. So that's why some of y'all looking like, well, why he fighting me? And why he say that to me? And he yelled at me, and he screamed at me, and he fussed at me, and he raised his voice at me. Guess what? Because you pushed him into the man cave, he went and got his weapons, he got his stuff, he came out fighting.
Right, because his mind wasn't there. Woo. Your mind was there.
Come on here. That's right, Erica. We hear different things with words. Words. Come on. I'm not in control. I am not in control of how he hears it, but I am in control of how I say it.
Yes.
Right? So if I say it in a way, there's a good chance he gonna hear it in a way that might not be what I wanted him, the way I wanted him to hear it. So I got to be careful how I'm saying it. No, I can't have attitude in it. Can't be rolling my head, rolling my neck, put my hand on my hips. I got to slow it down and talk to him with kindness. Come on. I say something in my book about learning how to make love with your mouth. Right.
So in other words, when you do that, it's easy to receive it. It makes it more receptive. And so we have to think about, how would you want someone saying what you have in your mind to you?
Ooh.
How would you want them to say it to you?
Yeah. And that's what we don't do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want them to say it to you with an attitude, don't you say it to your spouse with an attitude.
Season your words with what?
Salt.
Huh? Think before you speak.
Right. Now, and if you're not sure, go to God.
Oh, God, do that.
Go to God.
Do that. Do that. All the time.
Yes.
I can't tell you the times I've just gone in my prayer closet and said, Lord, you know, I heard him say it this way, and this is what I felt like he was saying. I received it away. I'm kind of feeling a little something. Lord, if it's just me and I just need to get me together today, it ain't got nothing to do with him. Maybe his mind was somewhere else. Maybe he was thinking about something else. Maybe he wasn't even, that wasn't where he was, and I took it that way. Help me. Because I don't want to come to him with something that's unnecessary.
Yeah. I like what Denise said. It's in the tone.
It is absolutely in the tone.
Yeah.
How you say it. Huh? I remember when we had a situation, we had so many situations, remember 28 years, told you that, right? That's why we can sit here. Glory to God. But I remember one time I told him he needed to do something.
Oh, yeah.
You need to do. You need to do. You need to do. And he would always give me this look on his face like, I need what? But he wouldn't say nothing. So, you know, men, you can't be silent on things like that. Because I thought, because I was saying it and he wouldn't say nothing, that I was okay.
So that's why you kept doing it.
That's why I kept on doing it. You need to do this, or you need to do that, or you need to do this. And one day, we standing in the closet, and I said it, and he stopped me, and he said, don't tell me what I need to do no more. You are not my mother. My mother used to try to tell me. My mother told me what I need to do, and you are not my mother. Don't do that anymore. Well, my first thought was like, what? What'd you say? In my mind, I'm thinking, no, you need to do what I just told you to do. That's what was in my mind, my head. But my mind was talking to me, but my thoughts was like, no, you might need to, you know, chill down with that. You might need to chill down with that. And you probably need to change your words. And I started rethinking and thinking about how to change my words. So instead of me saying, it did not come overnight. It took me some time. So instead of me saying you need, I started saying, honey, have you considered? Honey, have you thought about? What's your ideas concerning this? What are you thinking about doing this? I stopped saying you need. That was a trigger word. Okay, that's another part. You got to know your spouse's trigger words. There are certain words you know. Come on, wives. You know it triggers your husband. Well,
yep.
It triggers him.
And same thing for men. That's why we don't want to say, well, you always. See, you always do this. You always say this.
Those are trigger words. Those are trigger words. Come on. No person always does anything. Come on. No person always does anything. You perceive it as always.
Because that's what you always hear.
Woo! Because of your own perception of things.
Yes.
Well, come on. That's right. Somebody said wives know how to push the buttons. We do. And stop pushing them. Stop pushing buttons on purpose. It's like kids. Kids will go into a store, go somewhere. They run straight to the things and start pushing. We say, don't touch that, baby. Don't touch that. Mama got to pay for that. Grandma got to pay for that. Don't touch that. Huh? Why do we do that? Because we don't want you touching stuff that we got to pay for later. Woo! I just said something. Huh? Wise, we got to quit pushing these buttons
And
that we got to pay for later.
But
because you pushing buttons.
But now I'm gonna ask you the question. When you push this button, you got to make sure that you can handle what you're pushing.
Talk to us here. That's good. That's good, Pastor.
Because if you can't handle what you're pushing,
you better stay out of there.
That's right. So
again, it goes back to making sure that, do you really want to know the answer to those questions? And is it worth me going down this trail here? Is this going to be a trigger for my spouse based on certain words that I normally see him respond or her respond based on me saying those words? Just pay attention. It's about paying attention.
Right.
Because it's not about you only. That's selfish. It's about the both of you all. And how are you going to come to a place of harmony in this relationship?
Because can you imagine being in a relationship and no one asks questions?
That's a whole
Everyone assumes.
That's a bad place to be.
That's a bad place to be.
That's a bad place to be.
I thought we were going this way. I thought we were going to do this.
Yep. And I've heard wives say that. I thought this, I thought that, but now I found there's something I didn't know and you didn't tell me. Well, did you ask me? Did you give me an opportunity to tell you? Because if you don't ask him, if you don't ask her, you won't know.
And let me squash this. Why do I need to ask? Yes, you need to ask. You need to ask. Guess what? Our Lord and Savior even asked. Who do men say that I am?
Come on. So ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Dare to ask.
Yes.
You'll have a healthy relationship because you ask questions.
Yes.
Be careful how you do it. If you having trouble, you don't know how to do it, you kind of, no, get my book. Go to Amazon, or you can go to Amazon and get it, or you can get it at my website at theelitewife.com. I'll sign a copy and ship it to you. Right? I'm giving you some things. There are lots of things out here, materials out there. I'm just giving you as one of them. I wrote that in my book, and I have some things that can probably help you. Right? We just want to help you be successful in your marriage.
Yes, because I believe when you start to ask, you're going to be glad that you did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We did. We asked questions.
We're still asking
and questions. We're going to keep on asking
That's
questions. Right?
Because I don't know all the answers.
Don't know all the answers and never will. Right? But I've learned that it's okay. If I got to ask a question, it's going to be a big pill I got to swallow. Make sure I got some water beside my bed to swallow it down. Huh? Yeah. Be ready to take it in, whatever the response is. Because after all, you were big enough to ask the question. Be big enough to receive the answer. Yes? Yes? Y'all good? Everybody all right? Come on, give some thumbs up, some hearts. Let us know you're still out there and everything's good.
Yes.
We hope you got something from tonight. We hope you learned something. We hope you're able to take these things about daring to ask and utilize them. Listen, as my single ladies, this is not just in relationships, but you can use this in any relationship.
Yes, yes.
Work relationships, friend relationships. Come on, any form of relationship. Asking questions are important, especially to those young guys that are trying to date you. Okay? A young man is trying to date you. A guy is trying to date you. A gentleman is trying to date you. You need to ask questions. So, what are your intentions towards me? Where do you see us in the next 9 months to a year? What would you like for us to do or be? What is your expectation of this relationship? Oh, and what is your expectation of me?
Right. And why do you like me?
Take the why.
Okay. Yeah. What is it that you like about me?
There you go. What? Right? What is it that you find that makes me a good person today, or a good spouse, or a good to be in a relationship with? What do you want from a relationship? What is your definition of marriage? Come on, ask those questions in the dating. Uh-huh.
Because again, in all that getting, get an understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ask these questions. Yeah. I asked a lot of questions when I was dating. I can tell you the questions I asked. I knew them specifically because I knew what I wanted to know. Right? Did he have children? Was he stingy? There was certain questions I asked. I asked questions, didn't I?
You did.
And a couple of them, he looked at me like, what did Jesus ask me? But I was clear on what I wanted to know. Right. You got to be clear on what you want to know. Ask questions. Dating relationships are important that you ask these questions.
That's right.
Because if you do those in the dating, then when you get to the marriage, it should not be as hard. It can be hard because sometimes we get in marriage and we lose track of where we are, and we feel like, oh, everything's become sensitive. But you still got to ask questions, because if you don't, you won't ever get to the answers that you need to know.
Yeah, they won't. When you do that, it eliminates a lot of unexpected surprises.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. When you ask questions, it eliminates unexpected surprises. Y'all can write that in the comments. All right. It's 9 and we done went over about 18 minutes. I hope you guys got something out of it. Hey, thank you, Pastor Rick.
Yes.
Pastor Rick said awesome. God bless.
Yes.
God bless. Thank you,
Yes.
Andrea. Pastor Henderson, she said awesome stuff. Erica, thank you. Good to see you, lady. Tanisha, God bless.
Amen.
Thank you all for being on with us on tonight. Thank you, Lady Tanya. Thank you for being on tonight. It was a delight for us to be on. Hopefully we share something with you. We'll be back next week with some more tools, some more things in terms of helping you to have successful marriages, things you must practice every single day in your marriage to remain successful. Yes. Amen. We want you to be successful, just like we are striving to be successful. That's right. And we want the best for you. And what we're doing is just giving you things that we've been through, things that we've experienced, that we know will absolutely help you in your marriage. Hey, Mother Lofton. God bless you. God bless you. Love you, love you, love you. God bless you. Thank you for being on tonight. So hopefully these things will help you and help to bless you as you move forward in your marriage and in your relationships. Yes. Amen. Amen. We love you.
Love you. Love
all
everyone.
Right. God bless everybody. We'll see you next week for Let's Talk Marriage with the Manleys. Same time, same channel, 8 o'clock. See you next week. Take care.